This is WapTech reading the news in Heavy.com. Heavy.com will be linked as an archive only and maybe only through an imager. Jack Douglas Teixeira, a Dingen, Massachusetts, Air Guard Intelligence Wing, Cyber Transport Systems Journeyman Airman First Class, was Thug Shaker Central's 26-member Discord group's, quote, OG. Doesn't mean he was in the admin, it just means he was a OG. His Steam profile led to an Instagram profile with photos of his home's kitchen, floor, and countertop. And they were able to match those to photos of the leaked files. His stepfather is a retired Master Sgt from the 102nd Intelligence Wing at Otis Air National Guard Base in Cape Cod after 34 years. That may be the same location. This was as of 2016 or something, so it's a long time ago. Anyway, the matchup of the image is not bullshit because the countertop in question it's a fake marble countertop, and depending on where it's made, it will have an exact match only. Some of them are actually made on purpose so that they're completely unique by having globs of various colors dribbled on them or material patterns. I'll try to leave a link to a couple of videos on how to make it or how it's made, if I can find a video on that. Depending on whether the company makes repetitive patterns or not, this would match only that countertop. They don't mention the floor, but the floor would also have to match up. Is he or is he not the Pentagon leaker, and how did this happen, and how do we keep it from happening again? And do you believe that he is a whistleblower? He does not seem to have been a whistleblower, number one. Number two, everybody in the Discord said that him sharing it was him trying to impress them with his uber hacker skills, leet speak, insert scrambly letter stuff here. Did he by any chance get a hold of the credentials that his father-in-law or stepfather had? Did he simply escalate his privileges by jacking up his ranking on the servers at the intelligence wing, which is one of the key ways of getting access to files you're not supposed to have? Or were they doing it old school where they just make things top secret and make you swear not to do anything and make you account for looking at things? He either stole documents, printed the documents, photographed the documents, photocopied the you get the idea. Stealing them, if you're not aware of it, by grabbing them as data files, depending on how you do it, is incredibly risky or has no risk at all. Some places like this make it that you can't get in a room without having security clearance, so they have no security clearance requirements in the room for grabbing files. Until we know exactly how this was done, it's going to happen again. And that means that every quote-unquote National Guard Intelligence Wing, Cyber Transport Systems, Journeyman Airman First Class will now lose privileges, I hope everywhere, to be able to do this until they figure out exactly how it's done. More important than the leak of data, which it's damage done, he's going to be fucked for that, is to find out how he did this. Now, am I in favor of this sort of thing being secret? Depending on what you read into it, maybe, maybe not. Next, I'm going to point out something. Yes, the press is playing up that at a shooting range, there's a recording somewhere which we can't find because they won't tell us where they have it, so I'm assuming it's bullshit until proven otherwise, but he's on recording somewhere shooting and screaming racial and ideological epithets at the targets while shooting. Now, I can't find the Discord server, and it's invite only, and it only ever had 26 members, almost exactly the number for an alphabet set, which is A through Z for the identities. They could have been completely anonymous. Next, say it with me. Discord is not anonymous, nor is your, I hate having to say this, gaming profile on Steam, nor is your Instagram profile unless you work to make yourself anonymous. If you want to see this guy as a whistleblower and a hero, that would be your decision, but that means you have to vilify none of the other whistleblowers that did something seemingly as petty as impressing their friends. And more importantly, you should dignify anybody who claims to be a whistleblower that wasn't just trying to impress their friends and was trying to overtly state something bad happened and needed to be exposed. The fact that he was just trying to impress 24 people, max, and then here's the problem. Yes, this is where he leaked it, but this is a closed environment. Who is the one who leaked it from there? The Discord server may or may not have security in place to keep that from being discovered, but he may not have actually leaked the documents. He might have stolen them and shared them with a small group, which immediately means it's going to be leaked. This information could have actually been leaked by one of the other 26 people or 25 people, and that means that they could have been accessed by somebody hacking into their computer, or their little brother or sister grabbing it, or their older brother and sister grabbing it and dumping it on the net. They still have to trace who actually did the willful public exposure instead of a semi-private exposure like this. This is a multi-layered onion. Hint, hint. Next, until they grab every one of them and inform them that they're insulated from prosecution, just tell us who you gave it to or who got it. Until they find out who was the actual leaker, I'm not defending this guy. How many other people with the same level of clearance, which is really not high, got access to it? Maybe he's one of many. Maybe somebody arranged to leak it to a bunch of people, knowing one of them would expose it and take the heat off of them. I don't know. Need to think about that. But anyway, again, Jack Teixeira of Dayton, Massachusetts, was an Air National Guard Intelligence Wing Cyber Transport Systems Journeyman Airman First Class, and the OG of Thug Shaker Central 26-member Discord group, and had a Steam profile and an Instagram profile that had evidence posted because he doesn't know how to crop his data. Crop your pictures. And that matched photos leaked. And his stepfather was a retired Master Sergeant after 34 years in the 102nd Intelligent Wing, Otis Air National Guard Base, Cape Cod, maybe even the same location, probably, or at least connected. And maybe he stole his credentials, maybe he imitated his stepfather, maybe he escalated his privileges, maybe he was sent this by somebody else who wanted to make sure that they look bad. And now I'm going to do the Russia. He could have received this as authentic because he worked there and might have blabbed that he worked there and might have had it dumped to him by a direct message or PM or DMing. We'll find out in the next few weeks. I don't understand why he do this. And yes, the press is playing up that he had yelled racial slurs at a target or ideological slurs while shooting and a few other things. I can't find any evidence of it because they won't post where they got it from, much less provide it. Well, that's sensitive information. Yeah, everything's sensitive information and is erased immediately afterwards so that we can't independently check shit. So what am I saying at 8 minutes and 54 seconds? We still don't know who actually did the leaking, and we don't know how it was sourced to hack. The information was grabbed from some server somewhere. It may even be faked. We don't know. And before you judge the guy, we may not know any of this because, again, for the umpteenth goddamn time, mainstream media won't post citations. Attention, CNN and ABC and everybody else. And I'm also aiming this at Australia TV. There isn't any rule against you posting the link to the fucker's profile. Where is it? Even Heavy failed me and didn't provide a link. Give me a screen name. Let me look it up. Somebody archived it. And by the way, coincidentally, Archive Today and Archive.org seem to be very down if I try to look up certain profiles. It doesn't help that Archive.org and a bunch of other organizations are being absolutely hammered with people who are against us retaining books and are book burners. And it doesn't help that Archive Today is being manhandled because they out other people, like certain news stories about Vladimir Putin probably suffering from potential cancer of the nervous system. That's another video. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Yes, I am sitting on the fence here because it's not a fence. It's a freaking huge wall. It's a tsunami wall wide area of not having enough data. And again, there's no reason not to let us find it, and there's no reason to erase the evidence. That needs to stop. I mean, they do it reflexively, but make it stop.